All right, chapter 45, we're going to talk about German opera and German musical theater. One of the important composers from this time period is Wagner, so I want you to know about him as well. In Germany, there was no long established opera tradition like there was in Italy. So there were a few different types. One of the types called Singspiel was kind of the predecessor of German Romantic opera, and it was lighter. It had some spoken dialogue with it, typically a comic opera or a comic drama, excuse me. Um, in the early 1800s, a melodrama emerged within German musical theater, which again was more spoken, did have some singing, much more orchestra focused, which helped intensify the drama. So that was another popular genre as well. Richard Wagner is the important composer from this time period, born in Leipzig, Germany, and really the greatest figure in German opera. And age 23 was when he really began writing serious music. He wrote his own librettos because he wanted to have everything in his dramas unified. And it was very important to him that he had control of the costumes, the set, the music, the words. They all went together to form this complete work. So he had a very broad, grand idea of music dramas. He even built his own theater because he wanted it so specific. It's called the Festival Theater at Bayreuth, and it still performs Wagner's works today. This was where his composition, The Ring, was premiered in 1874, and it was based on legend. Valkyrie on their horses, you can see here. That's a picture of him. Um, but we'll talk just a little bit about that in a minute. His output was 13 music dramas. We'll talk about what that is. And he did write orchestral music and piano music, as well as wrote about music. He had a lot of philosophical ideas about music. And he was very passionate about beliefs of what music should be like. So there's a word that's very strange looking, Gesamtkunstwerk, which is translated total artwork or total work of art. This is what I was referring to, that he wanted everything fused together for his operas or music dramas. He believed it, the drama, the visual, the poetry, the music was all part of it. And he loved to write these music dramas in the style of that Gesamtkunstwerk, which was just everything tied together. He typically wanted it to be nothing separate, but one long piece. So not separate duets and arias like we're talking about, but the whole piece was part of the drama and couldn't be broken apart. Um, he loved to do German epics as his subject for his uh, music dramas, really focused on the orchestra, heavy and large orchestra, but that was a focal point in his music dramas. He liked to focus on the supernatural. He glorified the German land and people. And he used something called leitmotifs, which I need you to know as well. Leitmotif is translated leading motive. It's a theme similar to when we looked at Berlioz's Idee fix. It's a theme that represents a musical tune is a theme that represents a person, could represent an emotion, an idea, even an object. And it has this character that travels through the course of the drama, goes through transformation to help tell the story. So there could be several different leading motives, not just one per. But, um, you know, I guess a simple way to put it for you would be when you hear da 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 da, you think of Jaws, a shark. That is actually a motive. It's made up of two notes, very, very simple, a half step difference. But when you hear it, you know exactly what it means. It didn't really go through transformation like the German leitmotifs did, but you get the idea. The Ring is a series of 4 different music dramas, and it would have been performed in 4 nights consecutively. It's still done sometimes, but sometimes it's done over 4 opera seasons rather than in 4 nights because they're huge works of art. It comes from Norse legend, and the progression is betrayal of love, broken promises, magic spells, corruption, lust for power. I want you to think of um, Lord of the Rings. Gives you kind of an idea of the feel of it. Um, I can let you read on your own a little bit of the storyline, but what you're going to hear part of is Die Valkyrie, or the second work in the Ring cycle, which the main characters are Wotan, Sigmund and Sieglinde, which are brother and sister, and the Valkyries are the daughters of Wotan. Brunhilde is a Valkyrie, and Siegfried is the unborn son of Sieglinde. Uh, the idea of the opera singer in the hat with horns, the large, until the fat lady sings kind of thing, comes from Wagner's music, because typically you had to have a pretty hefty singer to be able to sing the works that he did because it was very difficult. So a strong, full-bodied singer, and because of the focus on Norse legend, things like that, this is where actually you get that picture of the opera singer, is the Brunhilde. I'll let you read that on your own, but you're going to be listening to The Ride of the Valkyries from Act 3, Scene 1, and you'll hear these ladies singing different battle cries, lots of big dynamic contrast with a big orchestra, and then the closing of Scene 3 in Act 3, Wotan and Brunhilde. Again, very large, fortissimo, big orchestra, um, lots of images being brought forth with full use of the musical instruments and the tone colors with that. Follow along with the words so that you understand what's happening. Again, I would encourage you to watch these.